Hi, welcome to Ways to Love Your Money. I'm Elisabeth Dawson, and I have our resident real estate expert here with me today, but we want to talk about a couple of things. There's been an event that's happened in Jonathan's life, and so we want to talk about that a little bit, but we also want to introduce you to our new studios as well. Hopefully you love them as much as we do. But think about these questions. If something happened to you, you had a major health event, how would that affect you? How would that affect your family, your loved ones? How would it affect you financially? And if you have had those experiences, we want to hear about what you've done to basically create success out of them for you, because this is all about being prepared. And so I'm going to introduce you to Jonathan Olow, which you've met him on the show several times, but I want Jonathan to tell me his story today because of something he's recently gone through, and most people wouldn't even think at Jonathan's youth that he'd gone through something like this. So without further ado, we're going to invite Jonathan to the show, and thanks again for being here.
Thank you for letting me be here.
You're welcome. Hopefully you like the new studio.
I do. I love it.
Good.
So I'm glad to be on the Virgin Voyage.
Yes.
So,
yes.
But thank you. Yeah, I know we talked a few days ago about whether I was going to cancel being here, but right. I did think it was important to, with what happened in my life just 2 weeks ago. Yes. So I experienced what's called a brain hemorrhage or stroke, which affects, it's a blood bleed on your brain, and it happened to bleed onto my cerebellum, which affects your motor skills. So speaking, walking, anything motor. But luckily, it didn't do a lot. It did quite a bit to me, but I've been able to recuperate every day as I get rest. So
well, and you've been one of these people that you've always been, on top of your health, or at least we thought so, right? On top of your health, you work out regularly, you eat very well. I mean, you're very conscious about these things. So I think it kind of goes to show you that no matter how prepared you think you are, something can change or something can happen.
Yeah, in this particular situation, I mean, in my business, my tagline is healthy, wealthy living, and try to promote that to my clients and friends. And, this happening when I'm 55 years old, it's just really, it was right now it's just a spontaneous event. Just happened, but luckily I have no clotting that's going on or an aneurysm or anything like that. I still have a little bit of language thing, but your brain gets erased. So like with my hand, I can barely write, but my brain says to do it, but my hand really doesn't do it. So it's just creating those paths of repetition to get in there. And that's anything in life. You just have to repeat it until it works. So that's kind of what I'm working on now. So.
Well, it's remarkable to see you in this state right now after such scary news that we had a couple weeks ago. And again, you're so conscious of how you treat yourself and how your awareness is. So I think when people think of, brain hemorrhage or a stroke, they think, gosh, you have to be kind of in your 80s to get something like that. So it's kind of a fluke. We don't know why. But you're never too young to start thinking about these things and to be prepared for them.
And that's why I thought it was important to come in this condition, so if I start slurring or something like that, which I won't, but if I did, I just want people to know that it does happen to healthy or not healthy. I mean, it just is, it's called luck of the draw or something like that. So, maybe it's out of my life permanently, and I'm done, and I can say I'm done at 55, and I hopefully don't have to worry about it again. But it also gives you that opportunity to talk to people about something that's not comfortable. It's, especially if somebody dies in your family, you have to talk about, what wills are in place, what financial things did you get, what did you not get, or long-term disability and care and things like that, that you have.
Well, I know we've had these conversations over the years, too, about you specifically, about how would you be taken care of in the event that something were to occur. We never want to believe that anything's going to happen. We don't want it to even think that we're in that world, of possibility. So I think in your situation, it's unique, but how well do you feel that you've been prepared for this? Even though you didn't think this was going to happen for a long time or ever.
I mean, I feel pretty good. I think, I put things in place, and there's always more, but it's always a level of what's important, what's going on in our life, because you know, I own my own business, so you know, I could say, you know, everybody's like, don't work, you need to take your time off, but you know, you sit back and you have to look at that. So I've strategically put myself back in my work, but I know that I take more breaks during the day because I own my business. So you know, there are certain things that you have to do, you know, to pay the bills, to pay your insurance, to pay your, you know, whatever premiums that you have for other policies and things like that. But you know, it all works out. You know, I've had a good attitude about it, and I could sit around and mope and not get the same, you know, results, but I'd, you know, rather share that with people of you know, what my plan is or what I have. There's always more, but you know, life changes.
Well, I think what's a good point that you bring up, especially as being a business owner, is you have a team that supports you, a team that continues the business even if maybe you can't right now. Yeah. Even though I know you're still working, but you don't want to do as much.
Let me tell you, having my phone taken away from me for 3 days was. I just told my partner, take my phone and don't bring it back for 3 days, because otherwise I'd be laying in the hospital bed trying to figure it out. So, you know, and it's, we have a joke in our industry. It's like when we go on vacation, usually an escrow opens, and my associate and my assistant, you know, were laughing because they were like, I opened 2 or 3 escrows while I was, you know, out of the picture.
Is that right?
And they were like, that's going a little too far. So, but you know, I have a team in place, you know, to do those things. But you know, now I'm back on board and just kind of being the pilot and overseeing the things that are going on. You know,
I mean, I know you have Patricia. I know you have Martha. And I mean, you've got a great family network too. But Patricia and Martha really help, you know, run the business for you when you can't even be in San Diego, let's say, and you do more over in Palm Springs. But I think that having those people on your team, I think, is such an important part, so that business's status quo continues to move forward.
So I'm lucky in that department.
You're very lucky, Well, I know you want to talk a little bit about, you know, disability. You know, so disability in a situation like this, because you might not be able to go back to full capacity for a little while. I mean, you're unique. You sound great. You look great. I know when other people have gone through something like what you've gone through, they're pretty much in a position where they can't do anything for months, if not a year, or it could be something worse, which thankfully it wasn't that way for you. So thinking about that in perspective, and I know all those years ago, especially when we didn't think we were going to ever need it, we talked about disability income protection. It's kind of one of those things you're probably a little happy that you have now, because even if you can't go back to full capacity, it'll pay you. It'll pay that income that you can't go out and earn. So what do you want to say about that? What do you want to say about that?
Well, people that are, you know, employed by themselves or you know, self-sufficient or entrepreneurs, it is an investment. It's like any insurance. It may or may not pay off. And you know, I finally bit the bullet maybe 6 years ago, where you know, a lot of my colleagues that are in the same business, they're just like, I can't afford $400, $500 a month, but it's something that you also can't not afford to do, because who's going to pay your bills? Who's going to pay the mortgage or rent or something like that? Luckily, I haven't had to put it into place. I don't plan on putting it in place, because you know, it happened 2 weeks ago, and I'm every day, you know, just getting better and better. So you know, I don't drive on. I mean, that's my choice. So for me right now, because I don't think I'd be very good on the road at the moment.
Well, I think that's probably a good decision.
That's probably a good decision.
It's better to have a chauffeur.
Correct. Or Lyft or Uber or something like that. Which
Isn't
is
it
actually
amazing? I mean, let's talk about that too, because as our population matures and everything else, I think that Uber or Lyft is going to be this amazing thing for people that can't drive anymore. So it won't keep them immobile, keep them mobile.
Well, I mean, on that same note is the what I do as a real estate, you know, professional is not just showing property. So you know, it's easy to, you know, you can't get a Lyft driver to take you to 7 different properties. You probably could, but you know, after that you get into escrow, there's certain things that you can do, and I really didn't think about it. And I went, I'll just call Lyft or Uber, and they'll just take me to my appointment, you know, whatever it's going to be. So eventually we may not have our own personal cars. It might be cheaper just to pay $8 a ride, and you're done. No insurance, no gas. you're just done. So
that is something remarkable to think about.
Yeah.
Well, I know when we talked about this to even have you come on the show today, because we weren't so sure if, within 2 weeks of your event, if you were going to be okay to do it. But I'm glad that you took the drive down here from Palm Springs, and you're here now. So what are the things that you want people to hear about, your experience, how comfortable or how confident you feel about going through this time, financially, physically, emotionally? Is there anything you want to share about that?
Well, I feel comfortable in the fact of financially. I know I've built my buckets, like you've taught me to build your own buckets. So if I need to go after money, I can go after it myself. So I know that, I might, if I didn't get any escrows closed for 2 years, I probably could, live off of
probably longer.
Yeah, probably longer. I'm sure I can. But that I'm lucky to have done that and put it in place where some agents that don't, or people that don't have that plan, then they're going to scramble, and then I put my health at risk because I got to stay awake. I got to get up at 5:30 and I work till 10 o'clock at night. For me right now, I got to take a nap every couple hours. Because I just get tired. And that's just something that I have to force myself. But from the money perspective, it's just I'm lucky that I put those things in place. With your guidance through Copia and stuff over the years.
Yeah.
So I think being educated and having a choice too, because I still may say no, I don't want to do that, but at least I know it and I make that choice.
Well, and I know we kind of had a discussion a couple months ago about you even increasing your disability insurance, and then you decided not to do it. Those are probably things that we wish we could take back, but we can't get it. And oh well, let's move forward, right?
Move forward.
But I think it's liquidity, making sure that you have enough monies for your finances, your bills, your medical bills, this situation, whatever might be coming up at you, but knowing that you're prepared because you have that liquidity or you have that support to help you through.
Well, luckily I have insurance, and we'll just keep our fingers crossed because I haven't seen any bills. Probably won't have any, but still, it's when you do an ER visit and you stay in the ICU for 3 days, then you go up to the stroke ward. So I was in a total of 6 days, and I'm guessing it's got to be $30,000 to $50,000 of expenses. If they threw that all on my plate, sure, I'd be like,
be a little different world, right?
Yes, it would be. But luckily, we pay into a system that works. And we'll keep our fingers crossed that it works well.
Well, I know you started to mention this before, and that was about the estate plan. Now, when you had this event happen, and I know your partner in your life, Nick, probably had to, know a few things. And for your healthcare power of attorney, did that kind of come into place?
We actually talked about it because he knows, we both know where our policies are, and the will, the trust and power of attorney for medical. So it's all in place. I've had that in place, but the hospital never really asked. And it was very interesting because we're not married, we're not domestic partners, but they, I think society has changed, and rules in hospitals have changed about, if you come in and you say you're somebody's partner, I mean, sure, people might lie about it just to go see the, the patient, but, they were very open about that, and, but they never asked for anything at the moment because there was nothing that was like, critical that it was critical, but it wasn't, on, was it death's door?
Well,
step
it was pretty
or something.
critical, but I'm glad that they took care of you the way they
Yeah.
did, because I think every moment
Yeah.
really counted, and
Yeah.
I'm so glad that Nick was
Yeah.
able to be a part of that too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your
You're
story,
welcome.
because I think that there's other people out there, at the age of 55 that wouldn't even imagine that this is a possibility in their life to occur. Jonathan's always been so healthy, so vibrant, so driven, incredible, real estate agent who's truly an expert in his field, and thankfully he's got a great team and a lot of family support and friends support, and I just want to say thank you for sharing your story,
You're
because
welcome.
maybe this is resonating with someone else out there too, or maybe letting them think that, gosh, I probably shouldn't delay.
Yeah, don't wait for the, not, luckily I wasn't waiting for a wake-up call, but there are plenty of people out there that are you waiting for the wake-up call, or come talk to you about, your overall plan, because some of that isn't just the money part of it, but it's the power of attorney, getting your will, getting all those networks out there,
Right.
Your CPA, your team of people that take care of you.
Takes a village.
Yeah.
Takes a village.
Yeah.
Well, again, thanks for sharing
You're
your
welcome,
story, Jonathan.
Elisabeth.
And I think it's great that you're able to be here 2 weeks after your event. And, sometimes life gets you to really start to pay attention to what you have to look at and what's really important right now. And right now, it's all about you, recovery, continuing. I know for you, your passion is your work, so continuing to care for your clients. And again, if you have questions for Jonathan, please reach out to questions with an S at elisabeth.dawson.com. And I'm sure that Jonathan would love to see your support in any questions that you might have too. And, you have to ask yourselves these questions as well. Are you as prepared to recover from a health event or to go through a health event and be financially okay? And, this whole show is about the respect for money and to pre-plan and not wait because we all think we have plenty of time. But sometimes when we think we have plenty of time and life is really busy, that's when we get slowed down almost, in a situation where we can't ignore it. So don't ignore those things that you're thinking about. Don't ignore the planning that you've been putting off. And don't ignore you, which is the most important part of this process. So again, thank you so much, Jonathan, for being part of the show today, as you are always a big presence here each and every month. And we're just looking to your progress and seeing that you have much more success as the time comes.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Elisabeth Dawson, and you're listening to our show, Ways to Love Your Money. I wanted to ask you this question. Have you read my book, Wealth by Design, yet? If you have not, what are you waiting for? Do you want more education on how to design the wealth that you really want to accomplish? Then be one of the first 10 callers now at 619-640-2622 for your complimentary copy. And again, that's 619-640-2622.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Olow, your real estate consultant for healthy, wealthy living. If you're in the market for buying a home or even investigating whether you can buy a primary home, secondary home, or an investment opportunity in San Diego or Palm Springs, feel free to give me a call at 619-823-9900. I'll be happy to do a complimentary phone or an in-person consultation. Thank you and have a great day.
Well, again, I want to say thank you to Jonathan for being here today, because talking so open about what just happened to him, and life happens every single day. I was just on a business trip last week, and our general manager, she got very ill. She was with me, and in the middle of the night we had to call 911, have the paramedics come and take her to the hospital. And these are things that we just don't expect. I mean, thankfully, Jennifer's doing okay right now. She's back today and stronger than ever. But think about this, all these different life events that kind of change and alter you. I want to read a couple different things here, because there was a study called Holmes and Ray, and it's a stress scale. And these stress scales, it was the top 10 most stressful events that someone can have in their life. So if any of these things are resonating with you, this is the time to make sure that all of your ducks are in a row, all of your team or your professionals are all in a row. And think about this. So the top rated stressful event was death of a spouse or a child. This had 100 points in this scale. Divorce, the second. Marital separation, the third. Imprisonment, the fourth. And death of a close family member, the fifth. So now you get to number 6, in which I would think that this would be higher up, because when life happens, the personal injury or illness of your personal self, that is number 6. Again, think about these things and what they basically measure for you. Number 7 was marriage altogether, planning for a wedding. I know I've gone through that myself. Dismissal from work, maybe job relocation, something like this. Then we go into marital reconciliation, and then the last one, which is number 10, and I see this every single day, and that's retirement. People today don't know how to necessarily plan for retirement, and therefore when they kind of go from this very busy side of life and then they go into real world where now they don't have to go to work at a particular time in the morning, they don't have to put their 40 plus hours in each week, and they're trying to figure out, what do I do now at this time? So think about all the different stressful events, and if anything like this is actually affecting you in your life right now, maybe those are reasons that you want to give us a call to help you out. Maybe we can help put the team together, just like Jonathan talked about, making sure that he had the right team and the right professionals in his life, his estate plan, his healthcare power of attorney, disability income protection, or even long-term care before the event happens. Those are things that we can't wait on, and don't procrastinate, because when you procrastinate, or you've at least made a decision not to do something, you need to be aware of it. Not that, gosh, I wish I would have done this. So don't be one of those, I wish I would have done it. Again, stay tuned. We're going to have more show to come, but I just really wanted to give you that a little bit of a nugget of information I think is going to be really valuable for you to think about. Think about where you land in those top 10 stressful events in life. We want to just make them more positive. The information provided in this show is for informational and educational purposes only. This show is not investment advice, nor is it intended to address the financial needs of any particular viewer. The opinions expressed on this show are not intended to be an endorsement of any particular investment strategy or service of any other kind. You must make an independent decision regarding investments or strategies mentioned throughout the show. Before acting on information in this show, you should consider whether it is suitable for your particular situation and strongly consider seeking advice from a financial advisor.